Damien Harris and Devin Singletary, both the same age, drafted in 2019 in the third round, roughly 10 spots away from one another. We can draw some clear-cut conclusions and comparisons between the two, one of which being that Devin Singletary had 10 fumbles during his time here in Buffalo, whereas Damien Harris only had 3 while being a Patriot. Hey, you guys, welcome to my channel, Bills News Consolidated. We got to talk about these free agent signings. Brandon Beane just struck gold. Trent Sherfield and also Damien Harris coming in here, bringing some grit, some physicality to the Buffalo Bills team. I think this is absolutely huge, so we got to digest it, talk about Trent Sherfield, talk about Damien Harris, and why I believe they're upgrades. Now, I already mentioned it, guys. Trent Sherfield, Damien Harris, they're just both just very smart, cerebral type players. Trent Sherfield has not fumbled once in his NFL career. Damien Harris has only 3 fumbles in his career. I think that's something to really keep our eyes on. And I know that Damien Harris played in 23 less games than Devin Singletary, but keep in mind, Devin Singletary only had 1,057 rushing yards more than Damien Harris. So to say 23 games, roughly a season and a half, I mean, a season, a running back could clearly get 1,000 yards. I mean, that's a great season for a running back, but it's very feasible. And Damien Harris only almost did that in his career back in 2021. Damien Harris rushed for 934 rushing yards and 15 rushing touchdowns. He averaged about 4.6 yards per attempt. I think that's absolutely huge. And when we were discussing Jamal Williams being a free agent and getting a pretty penny this free agency, I think this makes a lot of sense. Jamal Williams rushed for 17 rushing touchdowns last year in 2022, and he was that goal line red zone threat for the Buffalo Bills. I think this definitely makes sense. Go back to when Damien Harris did this, rushed for 15 rushing touchdowns. And keep in mind, Harris last year was hurt. He got banged up. He was playing hurt a lot. And I think the other thing we have to keep in mind is that Damien Harris, as well as Trent Sherfield, they've kind of been overlooked throughout their careers. You know, Sony Michel and Damien Harris, right? And then it was Ramondre Stevenson and Damien Harris. Kind of Damien Harris was always put on the back burner. He wasn't really that number one back like Devin Singletary was in Buffalo. I think Damien Harris is super smart. He's going to be able to come in early here, understand this playbook from Ken Dorsey. And then just the measurables, we got to take a look at it. Devin Singletary, right? 5'7", hardly 200 pounds. Damien Harris, 5'11", 215 pounds. Clearly a bigger, more physical style back. And Pro Football Focus has him rated at 90.4. He's the 5th best rusher since 2020. Damien Harris is definitely going to bring in that physicality to the Buffalo Bills. It's huge. It's huge. And I really think this is absolutely the back that the Buffalo Bills needed. And he's a veteran. He's going to come in here, understand things very well. Now, moving on to Trent Sherfield and why I believe Trent Sherfield is a huge upgrade for the Buffalo Bills. Another player that's been somewhat overlooked throughout his career, but talk about the players that he's played with. Larry Fitzgerald for several seasons. DeAndre Hopkins for a season. Absolutely dynamite. And then he goes on to the 49ers and sees Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, their physicality and that Shanahan system running the football. And then he moves on to Tyreek Hill last year and Jalen Waddle and that high potent passing attack. This kid has been around top-notch talent in the NFL, and it has prepared him to be the wide receiver that he is. And again, he's betting on himself per his Twitter account, coming here in Buffalo on a one-year deal. All these one-year deals prove it type seasons for these players too. Brandon Beane is a dang genius, getting the most out of these players. Trent Sherfield has been around top-notch talent, and what everyone is kind of missing here is the fact that he is physical. He can line up in the slot and run block, those crackback blocks. You know, he's just a grit player that the Buffalo Bills need. And he even said it in his interview, how he sees himself fitting here in Buffalo. And that says a lot, being that he played against the Buffalo Bills 3 times last year. Being that Damien Harris played against the Buffalo Bills, he wanted to come to Buffalo. And, you know, everyone not being able to stop the run in 2021 and last year, 2022, we stopped the run. I'm sure Damien Harris was like, I'm going to the Bills. We can't run it against the Bills. So I think both these signings are absolutely dynamite for Bills Mafia. And it's not only the stats, you know, it's just what these players actually bring to this team. And, Nyheim Hines, James Cook, Damien Harris, now this three-headed monster in Buffalo. It is absolutely, absolutely huge. And then Trent Sherfield, also Deontay Hardy getting mixed in here, replacing Isaiah McKenzie. The Bills are definitely starting to evolve this team and this offense. It's going to be so huge to see what goes down with both these teams, and I think Damien Harris, he could still catch the ball. When you look at the stats, and there's not a lot of receptions, but, the yard after catch, the yard per attempt when receiving it at 7 yards is actually more than Devin Singletary, something that we were talking about here. The yards after catch for Devin Singletary could definitely improve for the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, guys, Damien Harris, he's a physical type running back. I see him kind of the same as Isaiah Pacheco of the Chiefs. Pacheco is definitely clearly faster, but that same sort of role, that, physical power runner, you gotta gang tackle him. One player's not going to bring him down. He's going to run through you. He's going to fight for extra yards each and every single play. Same with the Trent Sherfield. I mean, God, lining him up, finding the matchups, and, all the wide receivers that we have here now, it's like, I really think we have a diverse enough wide receiver group that can win at every single element that the NFL game has to offer. But it's really just going to boil down to Ken Dorsey putting these pieces together, putting everything together, finding the matchups on a weekly basis, exploiting opposing defenses with the players that we have. Now, I do believe the Bills could still draft a wide receiver. We could still draft a running back, but it definitely lessens the need to draft them early or stretching for one of these players. You've been following me here. I think linebacker is the sure player to draft here in the first round, 27th overall. I think Trenton Simpson should definitely be the guy. Growing up, watching Luke Kuechly and Sean McDermott and Al Holcomb and this defense in Carolina, I think this definitely makes a ton of sense. Draft a linebacker in the first round. And just ball out from there. Maybe a tackle in the second round. They were said that Aaron Kromer, our offensive line coach, was spying Matthew Bergeron of Syracuse, the tackle, could very well be there in the second round for Bills Mafia to get that tackle. We're starting to shore things up. Brandon Beane is a genius. He struck gold, stealing these players from the AFC East. Damien Harris, Trent Sherfield, are you kidding me? They fit Buffalo, and they both wanted to come here. It is absolutely, absolutely huge news, and both of them playing against us, that just says so much more. But if you guys enjoyed this video, I deeply appreciate it if you hit like, subscribe. You guys are keeping this channel alive right now. Be mixing this up. I'm going to be heading to Florida, going through the Smoky Mountains, driving to Florida, but I'll still be releasing videos. Go Bills! Peace out.